your morning consumer news, the New York Times reporting the IRS is preparing to cut its staff by as much as half of its 90,000 person workforce. The reported pending layoffs come as millions of Americans are filing their taxes. The agency has already laid off more than 7,000 probationary employees as part of the Trump administration's efforts to shrink the size of the federal government. 401ks are becoming a rainy day fund for more Americans. A record percentage of people took early withdrawals from their 401k last year, with nearly 5% of account holders. The previous record was about 3.5% in 2023. The pre-pandemic average was about 2%. People who took early withdrawals to prevent foreclosures, pay medical bills, and deal with other emergencies. More than a third of those who took hardship distributions last year did it to avoid eviction or foreclosure. The Trump administration placing a temporary pause on auto tariffs on Canada and Mexico. The White House says the big three auto dealers, Stellantis, Ford, and GM, will receive a 1-month exemption on those tariffs. It is spring break season, where many Americans book getaways to beat the winter blues. But if you haven't booked anything yet, there is still time to escape and even score some savings. Jen Sullivan breaks it down.
Are you dreaming of white sandy beaches? It's not too late to snag some spring break deals.
I'm seeing some really interestingly low airfares.
Expedia travel expert Melanie Fish says she's seeing some flights for as much as 40% lower than usual for the month of March. Places like New York to Puerto Rico, LA to Honolulu.
Atlanta to Orlando, Orlando being a top spring break destination, 70% lower than typical.
She says the best way to save is to bundle your flight and hotel.
That's the way to save 30% or even more on your trip.
Here's the catch. You have to be flexible with your dates to score the best savings.
Thursday flights on average are about 17% cheaper than flying on peak days of the week.
Another tip? Fish says prices typically dip the last week of April. But what if you're beholden to the school year calendar?
Maybe consider a little road trip or even a staycation.